Hello fellow survivors, I'm here in the beautiful Pleasant Valley today to show you a trick that you can use in the Long Dark, at least on the PC, to access certain areas that you normally wouldn't be able to get to. This is the Campfire trick, which is a little trick that allows you to climb up slopes that you normally wouldn't be able to. I'm going to explain how this works, and then I'll discuss a little bit the applications of it, and then I'll show you an extreme case of this being used. So what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about campfires, you know, this sort of thing. Well, what is that about? Well, you can actually use the campfire to access areas by lifting yourself up a little bit when you cancel it. Let me give you an example to explain what I'm talking about. If you look behind me here, there's a little hill, and maybe I want to go up there, right? But it won't let me do it. It's too steep. It's just going to block me. I'll walk as high as I can, but eventually it just stops. Like, I can't go any further. It just stops. I get a little bit, but that's about it. Now, what you can do actually is you can place a campfire down. You can use the shortcut key, which is what I'm doing on the PC, number 4. Or of course, you could do this and select it, right? In any case, if you stand as high up as you can and then select the campfire and then cancel it, you'll notice that the character does a little jump. And if I do it without going upwards, it's a little bit more obvious. So I'll do it again, and now I cancel it and pay attention to the character moving. You see how I did a little jump there? And again. And again. That's basically the character sort of repositioning itself. A mechanic that I'm not sure exactly why it's in the game, but I assume it's got something to do with repositioning your character from cancelling something that creates an object in the world, which then launches you slightly upwards. Now this can actually be exploited so that you can spam this and then you'll slowly climb up a slope that maybe you weren't actually meant to get up. You can do this by just placing it and then you hold backwards, so you're moving backwards. If you don't do that, it's not going to work. You have to move backwards, place a campfire and then cancel it. And then you just do this, and you can see by my footprints there that I'm actually moving upwards and moving up the slope. This does require you to spam the buttons quite a lot and might actually be very tiring unless you have some sort of script or something. But it does launch you upwards. And this will actually allow you to get up a lot of slopes that normally you wouldn't be able to do. Keep in mind, it might cause seizures, so just be wary of that. Doing this will also very likely give you sprains. I'm on a specific setting now where I think sprains may have been turned off, but I'm climbing upwards and upwards. Now see, if I stop now and look, you can see I've advanced quite a bit. I'm kind of halfway up the slope, right? So I can just keep going, and eventually I get up. By the way, the area I'm getting to is accessible by going around, but this is for illustration purposes. If I can just do this, I'm placing a campfire and then cancelling it and cancelling, and it's spamming this, and I'm going upwards until, voila, I'm at the top. And that's how you access an area that normally you wouldn't be able to access. Isn't that neat? Now, I haven't actually tested this on consoles, but I've been told by some of my viewers that it doesn't actually work on consoles, it only works on PC. So this is how you can access areas you normally wouldn't be able to get to. In this particular case, it was just to demonstrate you can get up here normally. But that's how that works. Now, before I show you any more of this, I'd like to point out that this really is a gimmick. It's not really meant to be used to be exploitive. And in fact, you will not see a lot of people use this trick. Not because they don't know it, but because, quite honestly, there isn't actually much use for it. The main use for this trick is actually, in my opinion, to get out of situations where you are stuck. If you happen to be stuck somewhere and you can't get out, then maybe you can use this trick to get yourself out of it. And that's how you primarily would use it. There are a few exceptions where you might have seen me do this in order to access areas or do shortcuts that normally you wouldn't be able to do. For example, I skipped a rope in Timberwolf Mountain in order to get up without climbing the rope. I just spammed the campfire instead. That's one way you can do it. And sometimes I will use it to climb up smaller slopes to gain a better path or something like that. But generally speaking, this is something that I don't really use. It's good for you to know that it exists in case you get stuck, but it has very little use other than that. But I thought maybe you should know. There is a second way you can actually climb up, which is using the rock cache, which you find on the navigation. Placing down or attempting to place down a rock cache and then cancelling it has the same effect as a campfire. And the campfire jump will actually not work on very steep slopes, and it will only work if you're able to place a campfire down. While the rock cache actually is more flexible and you can use it almost anywhere. The problem with that though is that you have to carry 50 stones with you, so that's not so great. Now with that in mind, you now know how the campfire trick works, and you can use that to get out of situations where you will be stuck, and maybe you want to explore a couple areas that you hadn't been to before. I wouldn't be surprised though if this gets patched eventually and is removed from the game, so if you're watching this in the future, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. In any case, it is an exploit you won't see people using all the time, but it can be used for certain helpful things and to explore areas that are usually inaccessible. But remember that those areas are inaccessible for a reason, usually because there isn't anything up there. So that's why this isn't that useful. Now, before we end the video though, I thought I'd show you one extreme example of this, which is to climb Timberwolf Mountain. I was wondering if it was possible to climb Timberwolf Mountain by using only the campfire trick and not climbing any ropes. And well, it turns out you can. I'm going to show you a time lapse of me climbing up Timberwolf Mountain using only the campfire trick. And there's one small area in the video where I also used the rock cache to get up, but I tried it again afterwards and you can do it without that. And yeah, that's just for the fun of it. You don't have to do this yourself. You may watch this video. I never used this exploit at all, but at least now you know it exists. And at the very least, I hope it maybe can help you get out of some tough spots. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this little segment of me getting up to Timberwolf Mountain without using any ropes. And other than that, until next time, stay safe out there, survivors. Enjoy.
This stuff will come in handy.